Good morning, everyone. My name is Debbie McKee-Demchik, and I'm the Dean of Research Services, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship here at Durham College, also known as ORSI. I'd like to take a moment first to welcome everyone for being here, from our hardworking administrative and support staff to our world-class faculty. Thank you for being with us here today. Through the work of the ORSI team, I am privileged to have witnessed firsthand the many ways that applied research projects can help to enhance the student experience while increasing DC's contribution to the community at large. Our next presenters are trailblazers in their respective fields who have brought tremendous recognition to the college, both on and off campus. Lauren Fuentes has been a fixture in the School of Science and Engineering Technology for the past 12 years. She is a highly esteemed professor of electronics engineering technology and electromechanical engineering technology. Her students value her work ethic and her inspirational approach to the world of technology, and she has been a strong leader and contributor to applied research. Please join me in welcoming Lauren to the stage.
Okay, I'm guessing it's this one. Good morning, everyone. Everybody excited for the new start? I know I am. I'm pumped. So what I'm going to do today is just talk a little bit about how applied research is using the electronics cluster and how we improve our courses and programs. So let's see. To do so, I'm going to define briefly what is applied research and see what are the benefits that each one of the stakeholders involved in that research gets out of it, and then describe what I call our research life cycle. So what is applied research? Well, it's just a methodology that we use to solve a specific problem, practical problem, okay? This might be related to an individual or community, and what is happening here is that we look for solutions, either in the business area, in medicine, or education, in order to maybe find a cure for a disease, solve a scientific problem, or even improve or develop new type of technology. So what do I get out of this as a faculty member? Well, the first thing, I'm being exposed to the industry concerns, trends. It gets me up to date, okay? Maybe out of it, I could also get professional development. But once I have performed in that research and I get the results, in many opportunities, it allows us to sit back, look at our courses and see how we could improve them or even generate new courses within the curriculum. And last thing, and you're all going to see that I'm going to emphasize on this, is the acquisition of tools, components, and equipment that are going to help us make that improvement. Now, what do our students get out of this? Well, they are exposed to real-world problems. They could either gain or improve those soft skills that we were talking about previously. They will also be able to better their portfolio and also impress future employers. What I have seen with our partners, well, for them, they will promote innovation and see also how they could motivate the adoption of new technologies. At the same time, they have the opportunity now to evaluate future employees, and they get an edge because we are incrementing their competitiveness. So what does the college get out of this? Most importantly is that we support the community economic development. Okay, that's a big one. We also improve the portfolio, the research portfolio of the college. We give that advantage to the students to gain potential employment. And last thing that I have on the slide, we also get to impress new employers or partners. So we attract more people to come and invest with us and do applied research. Now, I said that I was going to focus on acquiring equipment, and that's where our cluster, our electronic cluster, is focusing on. We've been performing research for a few years now, and one of the software applications that we got through research was Proteus. When I say electronic cluster, I'm talking about 4 programs that forms that group. I have the electronics engineering technician, technologist, the electromechanical, and the biomedical engineering. With this software, our students build circuits for either electricity, electronics, or digital circuits. This gives them the option of simulating that circuits, inject signals, use virtual instruments, and evaluate how those designs perform. If it's required, then they will go to the last stage of this application software that will be the build of a board, okay? But this is a virtual, remember, simulation package. So they are building that PCB board that will house the components that they virtually have implemented and then bring this to the real world. Initially, this was done only for 2 courses, but we saw the potential, and slowly we started introducing the software into almost all the programs related to electricity, electronics, and digital, and some other advanced courses in the 3-year programs. To give you all an example, many of you might have attended some of the presentations of the biomedical students when they have to build from scratch an ECG machine. Well, they go through this process of design, simulate, and build that board. One obstacle that we had is that once they had that file that had that build, if we had to manufacture many boards, we had to outsource the boards, okay? We couldn't do it in-house. If we had only single boards, then we had an obsolete PCB room that used to use chemical process in order to make that physical board that I'm talking about. And I'll show you guys what it looks like. Thanks to another research project, we were able to acquire a rapid prototyping machine. So the file that was generated with Proteus, which is what you all have on the left-hand side of the slide, is loaded into this machine, and from there, it's edged and it perforates the holes where the components are going to be housed, okay? Only last year, we acquired this. This is now introduced into the curriculum. And it also gave us the ability to maybe make some extra revenue for the programs because we could outsource this now to UOIT or any other industry partner that comes and needs boards fabricated. We had another roadblock. We were only teaching our students how to do through-hole soldering exercises. So that is, take the components that were going to be placed on those boards and then just solder in manually, but we weren't using up-to-date technology. What is that? Well, there's something called SMDs, that is surface mount devices. Those are very tiny components that makes almost all what we have in our hands, our cell phones, so slim in size. You could see by the slide that they are tiny in comparison to the fingers of the person that is holding the tweezer, okay? Students weren't able to deal with that kind of technology. We couldn't handle it. Thanks to our research that has been performed right now this year, we acquired this piece of equipment that some of my colleagues might not even know that we purchased it because we did it late in the year, academic year. So this is a soldering and desoldering station that will allow our students to work with that SMD kind of devices. What is my research life cycle? Well, it has 3 key elements: the research itself, the course or the curriculum, and the employment. Why is this my cycle? Because by performing different research, I see that once we are approached with an idea, that idea generates new ideas that will change the program, either by, as I said, bettering a current course or implementing a new course. This, at the same time, might even give us the opportunity to develop an entire new program. And it's a means of employment, not only for students that participate in the applied research. We have part-time faculty that act as principal investigators, which is awesome. And when they carry this out into the workplace, it brings back, once again, more research attached to this, and the cycle just repeats itself. Okay? How could I explain this for you guys better? I have a simple example. 2 years ago, I was standing here in front of you with a group of students and one of my colleagues, and we were dealing with the Iraq gaming suit. One of those students that worked with that project is Kenneth Gardner. I don't know if you all recall him. Love him. Kenny was a very special young man. Started research from his first year, won 2 consecutive years, the second place as a researcher. And after he graduated, he still came back to us. Why? Because he wanted to take one particular course that came up from the development of the research that he had participated with us, which is our advanced electronics. He wanted to gain the skills that we were providing the current students in being able to develop applications, apps on the different platforms, Android or Apple iOS, in order to control and monitor hardware. He didn't have that skill. He had a job, but he still came back to school to learn about this because he saw it as something that he lacked. While he was here, he approached Orsi, and he mentioned that working with EV Fern, which is a local Oshawa company that manufactures lithium-ion batteries at customers' specifications. He approached Orsi, came to us, and said, I have a project for you guys. I want to set up a team, and I'll be the manager of that team. That project brought in 1 part-time faculty and 3 third years electronics technology program students. Out of those 3 students, one of them won this year the first place as a student researcher and has a potential entry into the company. The company right now is happy with the performance of the research and are also thinking in coming back to us with some other projects that they have in mind. That's my cycle, okay? We started with a research where one of our graduate students came and approached us with this project. It helped us implement changes into the program because through them, we purchased that soldering and desoldering station, which is now introduced into the third year's biomedical and electronics program and continues to generate more applied research into the program. This is awesome, as if you all want to acquire more equipment into your program, or any software application that you think that with capital spending you can't, just think of the possibilities that you have at hand to participate in research and gain things that will allow you to better your curriculum. For that, I want to thank Orsi, our industry partners, our student researchers, and my fellow colleagues, because that's the only way that we've been able to move forward and do the fast changes that some people say that are being performed right now in the electronics cluster. Thank you so much, and I hope I motivate you all in participating in research.
Thank Thank you very much, Lauren. I think I see another NSERC Artie grant application in our fall with your group. That was great. Our next presenter is a lifelong learner who began his educational journey here at Durham College, receiving an advanced diploma in Computer Programmer Analyst program. Today, he is working towards his Master of Education at UOIT. When he's not studying, Stephen Forbes is a professor with the School of Business, IT, and Management, and he is also a very successful ORSI faculty researcher. He is a mentor to both his students and his colleagues alike. Please join me in welcoming Stephen to the stage.
No, this isn't terrifying at all. Oh, that's my slide, great. Oh, where to begin? To really say everything that I could say, we'd have to go down to traditions for all-day breakfast, because it would take about half the day at least. So I'm just going to try and touch on a couple of things, more anecdotal than anything else. I'm very grateful for the guest speaker that we had, because as he was telling us these great things out of his book, I was just nodding the whole time, going, yeah, that totally aligns with everything I should probably say about the student experience with ORSI. All of the skills, the soft skills, the traits that he spoke about that employers value these days are exactly the things that I see my students getting out of our research projects. Touching on the three categories of students, if you're into that, the wanderers, stragglers, and sprinters, I can confidently say that any student who comes to a research project who's already a sprinter, this really gives them a springboard out there into the world. Before they've even graduated, they've got a job experience that they value, and they come at it full bore. But then there's the other two-thirds as well, the wanderers and the sprinters, and I believe I did about 4 or 5 years of applied research as a part-timer, and very early on, there was a very high-profile project I remember very clearly. It's still the most memorable one, and it was a late start, and many of our graduates had already received work, and I can say that the students that were available were more or less the wanderer or straggler type. I was a wanderer myself. And in this experience with myself facilitating for one of my first times, and especially with the industry client who came in, these gentlemen were such good mentors and guides that over a 6-month period, I watched these 3 students who were very clearly unsure about where they were going in the world and not so strong on those very important soft skills. These guys absolutely blossomed and became the ideal student that, I don't know, I guess I would have wished they would have been. I mean, they were good, but that experience really brought them alive. And I think probably the greatest asset to a student for engaging in research would be when you're in school as a student, you're given those assessments and you complete them, and really, at the end of the day, you're only really responsible to yourself or whoever's paying the bill, but ultimately it's yourself. You can fail and pick yourself up and do it again. When you actually have a job, it's not necessarily always like that. If you fail big time, you might not get a second chance. So that onus of responsibility is a little bit different between being in school and having a job. So you actually give them a job before they're out and get to be there to facilitate them going through this process that Lauren described, and watching them accept that responsibility and live up to it. It's pretty cool, and I can't think of a single student that I've interacted with in a research project that hasn't gotten out of here and done very well and been very successful, and they still are. I'm still in contact with them. For myself, the list is long of things that I appreciate about having had the opportunity to do research with the school. At the end of every project, I reflect on the overall experience, what went well, what didn't go well, because nothing really goes perfectly. And what I love to do is I take these experiences, these case studies, more or less, and I rephrase them into assessments that I can then give to my next year's students, right? So I literally take this experience and I turn it into curriculum. And it's great because it's fresh. Through ORSI, pretty much everything we do has to be something innovative, so you can almost be guaranteed every one of these will be something that doesn't exist out there in the industry as it is right now. So it's exciting and fresh and new for the students when you give it to them, because we all know students love doing the same old tired problems. So I reflect on that. I use that for my content, I use that for my case studies, and also at the same time I maintain connections with these clients. I am still in contact with the team that the very first project I ever did, I still talk to them and ask them how they're doing and how things have gone. And they have their ups and downs, as all businesses do, and they share those with me, and then I bring those to my classroom. So as I facilitate discussion, I say, what do you think would happen if XYZ happened? And the students, brainstorm and they talk and we discuss it, and I go, well, the reality is, next slide, this is what's actually happening right now with these guys, and I'll bring them in, I'll do little interviews over the phone or make videos to just bring that in to keep that content fresh and relevant, so that students know that what they're experiencing is something that is relevant to today. It's not just something I pulled out of a textbook necessarily. It's more or less what I would like to share. Other than the fact that I'm just super grateful for having taken part in the research department. Especially as a young professor, it gave me the facilities to engage in industry still while pursuing this career, because really I feel much more at home in a classroom helping facilitate people to learn. But it was great to still be able to interact with industry and actually create solutions and help facilitate that learning. So you should come hang out with us, we're cool. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for sharing that with us. I'd now like to introduce you to someone who excels at getting to the heart of the story. Ana Rodriguez is a renowned lecturer, and for the past 10 years, she has been a valued member of the School of Media, Art, and Design. In addition to being an experienced journalist and new media professional, Ana has a Master of Education with a specialization in digital technologies from UOIT. She is also working on her PhD in education at York University. She was also recently appointed to the board of the Broadcast Educators Association of Canada. Ana, please join us.
Hi, everyone. This is a bit intimidating. I guess there we go. Oh, there. I'm going to talk about the research projects that I'm involved in right now, but I'll just go a little bit as Debbie was saying, I've been here for 10 years, and I started to work on research projects probably about 8 years ago. I didn't have an academic background or had done anything like that when I first started 8 years ago, but I did have some questions, and so I think that's what starts you on the process of research, is you have a question and you want to try and answer it, and you do that through this process. And applied research, of course, is what is going to get you some answers or more questions that you have to work on. That's usually the case. And what I have found is that because I am working on these projects, I work with them with students many times. Sometimes I'm working alone. I'm learning how to be a better educator, and I pass along that information to the students in the classroom. The students that work on the projects obviously are learning new skills as well. But I think at the end of the day, we end up with a different perspective on something, and that's very valuable. So I'll just talk then about the research projects I'm working on currently. This one I'm working with my colleague who works with me in the broadcasting program, Phil Raby, and we felt strongly about this. So the TRC has a recommendation that came out that is challenging journalism schools to teach about Indigenous histories in the classroom. And so then the idea is that future storytellers, and that's what we're doing in journalism and broadcasting, will take what they've learned in the classroom and carry that on into their professional lives. And so we thought, why shouldn't we look at indigenizing the curricula in broadcasting and see where we can make changes? I was also inspired by colleagues at Confederation College. Steve Robinson and Michelle McManus, who teach there, had talked to me about a year ago about how they were indigenizing their curriculum. And they work in broadcasting, they teach broadcasting. They also work in broadcasting. And I thought, well, this is something we need to look at. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going to start in the fall. And some of the things we'll be doing is revising outlines. We're doing all of this under the guidance of the Aboriginal Student Centre. And every step of the way, they're helping guide us and letting us know their thoughts on what we're doing. And what indigenizing means, because I do get this question quite a bit, is just to make sure that you're reflecting values, Indigenous values, and cultural beliefs in your teaching. And we think maybe that this isn't very hard to do, and it really isn't. But so few of us are doing it, and so that's why we're going through this process. Now, the interesting part, where we're bringing the students in, they're going to help us, of course, with this process, and they're going to be part of it. We're going to ask for their opinions. We're going to go back and forth every step of the way. But during the winter semester, we're going to be producing videos, and the students will actually be producing those videos, creating those videos. And we'll be looking at different things that these videos can have, and they'll become a resource. So they'll end up someplace on YouTube where other professors can use in their teachings. We may be doing a video on smudging, and just a bit, so that people have a better understanding of what that ceremony is about. Or we may do a tour of a residential school and talk a little bit about that. So our students will be heavily involved. They'll be producing, directing, shooting, and editing these videos under our guidance. And so that's what that research project will look like. And what we hope is at the end, in the springtime, we'll have a better idea of how it worked out, because it still is, of course, an experiment. And we'll be writing about it and discussing with other professors in the School of Mad and just anybody who wants to participate, so that we can make sure that we do a good job, and that in the future, when other people look at what we've created, that they can just further that. They can continue that process. That's what we're hoping for. And another project that I'm working on right now, which was funded by the Broadcast Educators Association of Canada, is looking at mental health in media. And so this project started in the springtime, and I did hire a research assistant to work on this project, a broadcasting student who is now a graduate. So he's been with me since the springtime. The first phase actually involved a multimedia exhibit, and it was exhibited at the BEAC conference that happened in Halifax. So the BEAC, Broadcast Educators Association of Canada, has a conference every year, and last year it was in Halifax, and next year it's actually going to be in Toronto. Seneca is hosting the conference. And so it was interesting. I spoke to the board about this and said, is this an idea? Could we maybe get on board all the different colleges and universities that teach media programs in Canada, who are part of the BEAC, interested in asking their students if they would like to submit work that they have done that speaks to mental health. And they liked that idea, so emails were sent out. It was kind of put together in 3 weeks. So the idea was that we would get all these different projects. So we had web projects. We had a web project from the journalism students here at Durham College. We had a PSA from a broadcasting student from Durham College. And then we had projects from students that are at Seneca, University of King's College, so just different areas of Canada. They submitted. We had about 14 different work that we went through. So it was everything from video to, we had some audio, and we also had web. And it was submitted, and then a group went through it, and we decided we would exhibit the work that ended up at the conference. I believe it was seven or eight projects. And so projects went on iPads so that people could engage with them however they wished, and as well we had information on the projects as part of a poster, and then with a QR code so that a person could scan the QR code and then take a look at the video or listen to the soundscape, whatever the project was. And then I also had a Padlet available for faculty who were attending the conference to just let us know what they felt about the exhibit, if they thought it was a good idea, what their thoughts were on approaching mental health through this method, through an exhibit. And so it was very positive. People really enjoyed it and thought we should do something like this every year. So it is something we'll be doing again in the springtime at the next conference that's happening in Toronto, but we'll have a different topic. But this was a springboard now to the second phase of the research project, where I have my research assistant interviewing students, again from across Canada, that are taking, that have graduated from broadcasting programs, and they're being interviewed on their perspectives on what we can do in broadcasting programs, in courses, to better prepare them to understand mental health better as they begin to work in the media. Because we do hear from people working in the mental health sector that the media many times doesn't help the situation. And I'm talking everything from news to sitcoms to movies, where mental health is not portrayed in ways that it should be portrayed, and sometimes it leads to more stigma, and it's just not the way it should be, and a lot of it has to do with ignorance and people not understanding. So that's the final phase of the project that I'm working on right now. What I just wanted to say is, again, it's been a long process of 8 years of working on projects, and we all know what that's like. It can be very frustrating at times, but it is very, the word I guess I should use is just very valuable at the end of the day for not only yourself, but for your students as well, and then what people will learn from these research projects. But you never work alone, so I do have to thank Durham College for giving me the opportunity to work on all of these different projects, and of course ORSI for their support, and the support of all of the School of MAD, my dean, my associate dean, who throughout the years have supported me as I come up with these questions and I want to work on them. At the end of the day, as I said, it can be very frustrating, but you will find it very valuable. And I do encourage everybody, even if you don't think that's your background or that's your future, to kind of, if you come up with the question, kind of think of a way of exploring it through applied research. And you'll find that you'll probably enjoy the process very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anna. That was terrific. Finally, a very big thank you to all of our presenters today. A lot of terrific information was shared, and I hope that their words have left you feeling as inspired as I do. I look forward to working with all of you and hope the year ahead is a big success. If anyone has questions for any of these three faculty members about their work or about partnership opportunities, I encourage you to connect with them directly. I'd now like to welcome Scott Blakey, our Chief Administrative Officer, to the stage for a very special announcement. Scott.
Thank you, Debbie. I too want to thank all of you for joining us here this morning. As Dawn mentioned, Durham College is quickly approaching its 50th anniversary. And as we move toward that milestone, it's only natural that we turn our attention to our remarkable history of growth, innovation, and leadership. This includes Durham College's commitment to enriching the student experience, a commitment that has continued to drive us all forward throughout the years. However, a great student experience could not be achieved without the skills, expertise, and leadership of our valued employees. Today, it is my privilege to announce the nominees for the 2016 Durham College Employee Awards of Excellence. These awards are given to employees that have demonstrated excellence and above and beyond contributions in their roles in the college over the last year. As in previous years, nominations have been received from 3 different categories, those being faculty, support staff, and administrative staff. While we greatly appreciate the hard work and dedication of everyone here at Durham College, this year's nominees have shown a strong commitment to excellence in teaching and learning, leadership, customer service, departmental and organizational knowledge, interpersonal skills, and professionalism. Today, we celebrate their accomplishments, and in October, at our annual Employee Appreciation event, we will announce the award recipients. The nominees for Employee Awards of Excellence in the faculty category are Teresa Goff, School of Media Art and Design, Maria Ianzello, School of Justice and Emergency Services, Deborah Shu, School of Health and Community Services, the nominees for this year's Support Staff Award are Kimberly Boss, Student Recruitment and Admission Services, Brandon Carson, Communications and Marketing, Elaine Cattell, Financial Aid and Awards, Robert Noakes, School of Skilled Trades, Apprenticeship and Renewable Technology, and Megan Parker, Office of Research Services, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Our administrative staff nominees are Rashmi Gupta, School of Research Services, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Chris Roca, Financial Aids and Awards, and Allison Rosneck, Communications and Marketing. On behalf of all employees and students, I would like to congratulate each of these worthy nominees and ask once again that you recognize them with a round of applause. We all look forward to the announcement of the awards recipients this fall, so I hope to see you out on that evening. I'd now like to welcome Elaine back to the stage to share this morning's closing remarks. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Scott, and thank you again to our 3 faculty presenters. I do need to address one housekeeping item right now, and that's to ensure that the beautiful centerpieces on each and every one of your tables finds its forever home. And so in doing so, I'd like you just to take a minute at your table to figure out whose birthday at your table is closest to today's date. No fighting over them, okay? Thanks, guys. So just in closing then, since arriving at DC, I have been continually amazed at the enthusiasm and commitment of all employees and their willingness to go above and beyond to support each other and our students. You can feel the enthusiasm and the energy in the room right now, and it feels fantastic, doesn't it? And just before I say my final remarks of Happy New Year, and since we have spent some time today discussing how we can prepare our students for the workforce, I thought I'd like to share with you a lighthearted look at the history of the job interview.
So, you want your job?
What do you do?
Me and they have many hunter. Me all together.
You hunt together.
These days, many men. So, they will say us having. Take your most time. Hunter? Maybe Gary?
Why do you leave that job?
That's more time. Me make the jump bigger.
How long you with that job?
10 months?
10 months? Me hear you leave after 2 months. Me hear you leave and go travel around playing with friends. You too. Me don't try to chase for them.
Me just want it bad. Me got just system. Yeah.
Lovely. Desire. It's going to be that day, people.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and have a great New Year.